Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another instant reaction episode of Severance by Story Archives. I'm your host, Mario Busto, alongside
the other host, Zachary Newton. Welcome back.
We're back with some sleep-deprived coverage from me and Zach here. Zach has a baby, so he never sleeps well.
Yeah.
And me, I'm just crappily sleeping. I don't know what's going on, Zach. I got the blackout curtains over here. I got a routine. So here's the routine. You gotta set the AC every night to 69. It has to be 69.
The perfect temperature.
Yeah, because I feel like it breaks at 68. Like the AC will just break at 68 for some reason.
It doesn't break. I grew up on 68 with my parents.
You grew up on 68? Maybe 69. Just, anyways. For some reason, it's got to be below 70. That's the moral of the story. People are going to get hung up on the 69 thing. But you got to set it to 69. You got to make sure your bed sheets are like withdrawn so that the actual bed sheets get cold.
Yeah.
Yeah? And then, that's pretty much it. You make sure it's like regulate the temperature in the home. Get to bed. Doesn't matter. I've been sleeping like crap the last 3 or 4 days. But we're here. Nobody cares because it's not mammalian nature's problem. And we're going to cover this episode with all the enthusiasm in the world.
That's for sure. I love it. I mean, you always ask me what's my opinion or reaction on the show. Let's start with yours. What did you think of today's show?
The most important thing is that we finally we actually didn't get any answers about why the goats.
No.
We can infer a lot of things. Shout out Brienne of Tarth. I know she probably hates when people call her Brienne of Tarth and things, but now you get the Game of Thrones reference.
I was wondering if you were going to catch it. I wrote it down. I'm like, it's Brienne of Tarth.
Of course. I mean, she's a very tall woman. It's very difficult. She has a very distinct face.
Yeah.
So she can put whatever wig she wants, whatever getup she wants. I'll recognize her. She's one of the most honorable knights in the Seven Kingdoms, Zach. You recognize that face anywhere.
All right.
Anyways. Yeah, man, we saw the goat thing, which is probably, I feel like more offices should have a little goat field inside, their depressing offices. But I was really surprised that we'd get this reintegration in episode 3, which means that Ben Stiller ain't playing no games. It means that we are accelerating the timeline here. I was also surprised to see that we got Dylan's family visitation situation. And I was also surprised that it was actually his real wife who went to visit him. I thought it was gonna be a complete decoy, which makes it even worse in my mind because I feel like your wife having an affair with a version of you that's not you. It's kind of like that show everybody was dying for us to review last year, Dark Matter. It's like there something like that, which kind of makes me just feel icky. And I'm not looking forward to it, but there's absolutely going to be a Dylan and Gretchen affair, any outie situation, and who knows what happens with all that.
Yeah.
I was very confused with the whole, how did Asal show up? That's the lady who did the procedure on Mark
Asal. I don't know. I mean, I guess she lives wherever.
Was that her place?
I think. I was wondering, I'm like, why did Mark drive out into the, just turn the freaking light on in the bottom of your basement, which I called before he actually tried to burn his retinas in. I was like, they're going to try and burn an image into his retinas. And that's exactly what the game plan was.
You also mentioned last episode this theory about the watch and whether the watch thing would work. And then I was thinking, damn, Zach was on to something with the watch, but it wasn't not exactly what you thought.
It was definitely not what I thought, but I did smile a little bit. I'm like, at least we're using a watch here. There's something it's a stopwatch, but yeah, sure.
You were almost right until you weren't. Then I ended up being right because I said no. There's no way technology like that. They don't wipe everything on the way down there. Which I mean, turns out they even what do? They dilate your pupils even when you're going down in the elevator. Which, I mean, man, there's just a lot of
security.
Well, let's put it this way. Asal was trying to convince this guy, Mark, to do this last season, right? Or to work with her last season. Don't you think you would lead with your wife's alive?
Yeah. I mean, but it's the argument of maybe he wasn't ready to hear it yet, right? Mark, ever since season 1, episode 1, has been this grieving character. That may have just rocked his world too much. I feel like this was a nice way to slowly enter the potential thought, the doubt that his wife is actually dead and might be alive.
Yeah.
So the timing of that felt right, though. To me, it felt right.
Yeah, this show stands in the face of Quentin Tarantino's comment about TV not making you remember moments. I think I'll always remember now that end sequence of Mark, the lines aligning and the waveforms aligning, and then that brilliant editing sequence of literally the words that Mark is saying is switching between him and his suit, and him, and the mouth movement is even the same. They're completing each other's sentences. I mean, the editing in this season, if it doesn't win the Emmy, is crazy. But then again, they did one of the Emmys. Can you look that up?
Yeah.
I wonder, would this show qualify for this year's Emmys, or would it have to have been last year? And are they going to have to wait till next year? Because there seems to be, like with the award shows, there seems to be this sort of recency bias of movies that come out closer to the Oscars are the ones that win the Oscars. Like you see The Brutalist going around right now. I haven't watched it. It's a 4-hour movie. I was going to go watch it tomorrow.
Oh, it's that long?
Yeah.
Wow.
A buddy of mine just deployed to the Navy. He like found an AMC $50 gift card in his pocket. He's like, well, I can't use it now, so just take it. So I was gonna go watch The Brutalist, but it's 4 hours. I don't know if I want to watch I don't know if I want to watch anything for 4 hours, dude. Except for the Lord of the Rings extended edition.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at the movie. I think I texted you about The Brutalist. I was like, did you see this yet? I didn't realize it was 4 hours when I asked you that.
So one of the Emmys?
I'll check. The Emmys, all entries must have been released between June 1st, 2023 and May 31st, 2024. But that's for the 2024 Emmys, so I would assume it's
okay. So they made
roughly the same.
They made the mark then, right?
Yeah,
they made the mark. Okay,
I mean they did win some Emmys when it first came out in 2022. It's like 5. Outstanding drama series, lead actor in drama series, and so on.
Does any other show come to mind that was as good as that has been as good as this season so far of anything we saw last year? House of the Dragon season 2 was nowhere near as good.
It was
as season
not
1.
as good as this. Yeah, this has all of the intrigue. I mean, For All Mankind was pretty solid. I mean, that's always a good addicting
that surprised us because they also. The latest season of For All Mankind was a lot better than the previous season.
It was.
That's the thing. The previous season really set the bar low of like, oh, God, what are we going to get here? What else did we... Man, we watched so much last year. What the heck did we watch? I would have to go back. Penguin was great.
Penguin was solid. 3 Body Problem was really good, too.
Oh, yeah. 3 Body Problem was fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe I would probably put those two like at the same level, honestly. Like those two shows are really, really solid.
Yeah, fantastic year for TV. Yeah, by the way, when this ends, when Severance season 2 ends, this is maybe the first time in like 2 years where I don't know what show we're going to do after Severance. Where I have to start doing some research on what are we going to do after Severance.
Yeah.
Maybe Foundation could just come out just in time. That would be great if Foundation just came back out right in time.
I would love it. I've kind of been missing Foundation a little bit. I just started watching the show Prime Target that came out on Apple TV Plus. I'm like halfway through a little over halfway through the first episode. It's okay. I'll give it to like end of episode 2 and see if I'm interested in it.
Okay. All right, so going back to the episode a little bit. This is the instant reaction, folks, so we're not going to go that deep for you. Got a lot of my girl Natalie in this episode. My goodness, she's pretty, I got to say. I can see why the board wants her as the mouthpiece, but I'm not altogether convinced that she's not severed alongside, what's his face?
Milchik?
Seth Milchik.
Yeah,
I put him as Seth in my notes because Milchik always gets spelled like auto-corrected.
Yeah.
And I think Milchik and Cobell are both severed. Natalie, maybe not, because the board seems to talk to her, if the board even exists, right? Because you get that really odd scene at the end with Cobell and Helena.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, let me request the board for you.
Yeah.
And Cobell almost got the sense like that was going to be her end right there.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like that was like, we're going to kill you here.
That's what it felt like. I wrote in my notes, I'm like, she either realized something or just straight up feared for her life and was like, nah, I'm out.
Yeah. You know how people say you whitewash history?
Yeah, well, we did the opposite here.
The board blackwash history because we got a black Kier in this episode. And Milchik didn't seem too happy with black Kier. Like, he did not seem at all pleased with seeing, kind of looked a little like Don Cheadle.
I mean, if you're somewhat intelligent, I imagine that would just be a very weird feeling. Like, the blatant brainwashing and like carrot on a stick that this company Lumen does with their employees is absolutely insane.
What was hilarious is that the full cycle of Kier, and then the board, supposedly, if it's the board, said, by the way, that we gave the same thing to Natalie when we promoted Natalie. 'Cause Natalie's also black.
Yeah.
Or mixed or whatever. But yeah, but there you got the sense there was a general uncomfortableness between her and Milchik in this moment. And I don't know what the deal with her is yet. But I don't know. They didn't seem too happy with Black Kier, neither of them, because he went straight up to the storage room, and they really emphasized the location of these pictures. So I would assume that they're going to come into play. It seemed like the first moment, similar to how Cobell had her meltdown moment last season where she started breaking everything. It felt like the first chink in Milchik's armor of... Like, he's the guy who was underneath the boss, right? And then he gets promoted to the boss's thing. Maybe when he was the underling, he had all these ideas of what he could do and how things would be different. And then when he takes the position, he realizes they're treating me just like Cobell. They don't talk to me, okay? And now they freaking do this cheap, racist-ass move of putting a Black Kier, you know? You know, I'm no different. I'm just a number to this company type of thing. That's the sense that he's a great actor. What he communicates with his eyes is pretty great. But that's what I got from his kind of facial expressions in that scene.
Yeah, no, I think I kind of felt the same thing. Like, he now seems to be in a position where he's starting to question is exactly the word. I'm curious to see, what sort of information we might find from this storage room. It reminded me a bit of one of the scenes in Squid Game season 1. So who knows? Maybe somebody will find their way in there. But yeah, I wonder if Cobell will end up coming back in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Although she did run away.
We got a lot of things, a lot of nuggets. We got like a lot of, they're kind of just sprinkling little goodies on the trail for us, for the rest of the season. Now we got the hint about the export hall with Irv and Felicia talking about it, and there's this guy who makes deliveries, and now he does them instead of O&R. Which, by the way, what does O&R stand for again?
O&R?
Yeah, O&R Severance. Just look that up. O&R Severance.
It stands optics and design. Oh, that's O&D.
O&D. That's what I meant. It's O&D.
Okay. All right. Yeah. O&D's optics and design.
Interesting. Which I think that they got their hands on mammalian nature. Because the first thing... We don't know what Brienne of Tarth's character's name is, so we're going to call her the Goat Queen for now. The Goat Queen pretty much says, "Are you here to kill us?" Right?
Yeah.
They didn't say her name, right? I'm not just calling her the Goat Queen.
I did not hear her name from what I remember, but I did catch it from the Apple Insights.
They're kind of like, I don't watch those, but
no, it's the thing at the bottom, not the end of the show playthrough, like behind the scenes.
What's her name then?
It's Lorne.
Okay, we'll call her Lorne. I like Goat Queen better, but
a Goat Queen sounds pretty cool.
They are backwards people. They're kind of like wildlings from Game of Thrones. They even asked to see Mark and Helly's bellies.
That's how I was going to end the episode. Before you go.
Yeah, with the pouchless bellies.
Yeah.
So do these people have pouched bellies?
I would sure hope not.
I
feel like they just live amongst goats all day, every day, and so they think everything that's not them has a pouched belly. I don't know.
Yeah. Which, by the way, before we do go, is Helly even severed anymore?
I think she's probably severed. They're just not actually severing her when she goes down. But I did write in my notes, like, this does
That's what I
not
meant.
seem like Helly from season 1 at all, right? Like, I think our suspicions from an episode or 2 ago are true, in that this is Helena down there. It's not Helly.
Yeah, I think it is Helena down there. Just certain facial expressions. It felt like somebody acting. Someone trying to act like
Yeah.
somebody that they were watching stuff
Trying
on.
too hard.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like. It felt like she was trying, and I don't mean the actor was trying too hard. It felt like Helly or Helena here was trying too hard.
Yeah, and I think that was the intended purpose of it. So
Yeah.
All right. We do end the episode with that final moment of Mark being reintegrated. So if ever there was a time to, like if ever there was like a magic genie that you get to do this only once per season, where you can't wait, you don't have to wait a full week, but you get to watch the next episode immediately. Because of that reintegration moment, I probably would have rubbed the genie's lamp today to make that wish.
All right. Well, we're going to have to wait another week, though. There's no genie.
And if anybody wants to hear anything else about what we have to say about this episode, you're going to have to wait till Sunday to hear it in the deep dive.
That is for sure. Well, before we log off, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the show if you like the show. Drop a comment, like it, whatever you can do. Your support is much appreciated. We love to see everybody's thoughts, comments, and theories on shows like this. It's always fun. But you can find the show anywhere you find podcasts, Apple and Spotify podcasts primarily. You can visit us on YouTube at Soapbox Podcast Network. Visit a website at soapbox.house. Email us at contact@soapbox.house. And if you want to catch up with us on social, you can find links to that on our website.
All right, we'll see you guys on Sunday.